What if a single quiet act, seemingly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, had the power to not only transform one person's life, but to ignite a profound sense of hope and belonging within an entire community? Tonight we journey together into a reality where optimism feels elusive, and one young individual's spontaneous decision sets forth a chain of events that restores faith in humanity in the most unexpected and heartwarming way. Join us for a narrative that will not just touch your heart, but also spark your imagination and move your spirit. It was an unrelentingly frigid and biting October evening in Indianapolis when 18-year-old Barron Trump found himself stepping into a humble homeless shelter. He had no inkling then, but the unassuming choice he was about to make on that seemingly ordinary night would cascade into a story of compassion, connection, and change, leaving an indelible mark far beyond that singular moment. What unfolded next is a tale that demands to be told and deserves to be heard. The cold grip of an autumn night's air wrapped around the city, its chill seeming sharper and more unyielding with each passing hour as Barron Trump stepped out of a bustling SUV onto the dimly lit street. At the age of 18, his towering height and distinctive presence often made him an object of attention, yet tonight it would be his actions, not his stature, that would make a difference. Accompanying Julia, a steadfast family friend and dedicated advocate for the homeless, Barron was stepping across a threshold into a world profoundly different from the one he knew, a world brimming with stories of resilience, struggle, and quiet strength. The shelter, aptly named Community Haven, was nestled discreetly between a weathered auto repair shop and an old diner. Its modest facade belied the vibrancy and warmth that pulsed within. Inside, the small yet bustling space teemed with murmured conversations, the rich aroma of coffee, and the quiet determination of lives striving for a semblance of normalcy amid adversity. As Barron scanned the room, an unfamiliar sensation settled over him, a poignant stillness, an acute awareness that this evening might hold a significance far greater than he anticipated. Julia guided Barron through introductions to the shelter staff, their faces lined with the quiet endurance of those who have seen too much yet refuse to give up. As they spoke, Barron's gaze wandered, eventually landing on a young boy seated apart from the others. The boy couldn't have been older than 10, his small frame dwarfed by oversized clothing and sneakers that seemed to belong to someone twice his size. His presence was unassuming, yet something about him, a quiet resilience, a fragile solitude, drew Barron's attention like a magnet. Without giving it much thought, Barron found himself walking toward the boy. He knelt down, bringing himself to eye level, his voice gentle and measured. "Hey there," he began softly, offering a small smile. "What's your name?" The boy hesitated, his fingers tightening around the straps of a worn-out backpack that looked as if it held his entire world. "Alex," came the whispered reply, barely audible over the room's hum. What began as a simple exchange of words quickly evolved into something far deeper. Alex, cautious but open, shared the story of a single photograph tucked inside his backpack. The faded image depicted Alex as a younger child, his mother standing behind him, her arms wrapped protectively around his shoulders. "She told me she'd come back for me," Alex murmured, his voice wavering with a blend of hope and heartbreak that cut straight through Barron's guarded exterior. For Barron, who had grown up cocooned in privilege and security, the weight of Alex's words hit like a thunderbolt. The stark contrast between their worlds was undeniable, and yet, in this moment, it felt like the most natural thing in the world to bridge the gap. Barron couldn't walk away, not now, not after hearing Alex's story. After a quiet conversation with Julia, he made a decision. Together, they slipped out of the shelter and drove to a nearby store. The aisles were a blur as Barron filled a shopping cart with items that might seem mundane to many, but would mean the world to Alex. A warm, sturdy jacket to shield against the biting cold, shoes that fit snugly and comfortably, fresh clothes, school supplies, and a simple yet transformative gift, a tablet. By the time they returned to the shelter, the night had grown quieter, the streets nearly deserted. Barron carefully placed the bags beside Alex's makeshift cot, ensuring not to disturb the boy's slumber. It wasn't about acknowledgement or gratitude. It was about restoring something intangible, hope, dignity, and the belief that someone cared. When Alex awoke the following morning, the sight of the neatly arranged bags left him momentarily stunned. His hands trembled as he opened each one, pulling out item after item: the warm jacket, the perfectly fitting sneakers, the tablet he had never dreamed of owning. As realization dawned, tears welled in his eyes, spilling over as he clutched his old backpack tightly to his chest, not out of desperation this time, but in sheer gratitude and disbelief. Across the room, Barron watched quietly, a wave of emotion washing over him. Julia's words echoed in his mind. It's not just about the material things you've given him. It's about showing someone who feels invisible that they are seen, valued, and worthy of kindness. Alex's transformation was more than personal. It became a spark that lit a fire within the shelter's community. Inspired by his story, the staff redoubled their efforts. Volunteers rallied to organize fundraisers, and local businesses stepped in to provide additional support. What began as a single act of kindness blossomed into a movement, uniting strangers in their shared humanity and desire to uplift one another. For Barron, the experience was nothing short of transformative. Reflecting on the events later, he said, "It's not about the things you give. It's about the intention, the acknowledgement of someone's worth. It's about letting someone who feels unseen know that they matter." His words resonated, a powerful reminder of the extraordinary impact of ordinary gestures. Stories like this remind us of the profound power of small, intentional acts of kindness. You don't need fame, fortune, or a grand platform to make a difference. A compassionate word, an outstretched hand, or a selfless gesture can ripple outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully comprehend. So we ask you, what act of kindness will you choose to create today? Let's start a movement together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story to inspire others to join us in spreading hope and love. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, it's the simplest acts of compassion that remind us of our shared humanity. These moments of kindness, no matter how small they seem, carry the power to heal, connect, and transform. If this story moved you, take a moment to reflect on how you can bring light into someone's life today. And remember, every gesture of love matters.